Production funding for Arts Upload has been provided in part by Francis Family Foundation, Hall Family Foundation, the H&R Block Foundation, Courtney S. Turner Charitable Trust, John W. and FEE Spies Memorial Trust, Muriel McBrien Kaufman Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Randy Mason.
And I'm Maris Aylward.
A little autumnal beauty has brought us here to the Overland Park Arboretum and Botanical Gardens
to share stories about musical theater and urban art.
Edith Hadd and an ecologically minded guitar maker.
It's all ahead on The Upload.
Musical theater heritage. Not the snappiest name ever.
But if you're looking for a success story in the arts, these are your guys.
Like the name would imply, they are mad about musical theater.
But the way they package it and the audience response to it keeps making MTH a busier and busier place.
I have the details of my 20th annual A Night on the Town radio listeners trip to New York and Broadway.
It's often said that the best way to tell a story is to start at the beginning. But since we can't take you back to Lost Falls, West Virginia, George Harder's hometown, this will have to do.
I hope that you'll join me because we're going to be seeing the game-changing musical theater piece.
It's the studios of Kansas Public Radio, where Harder records A Night on the Town, a loving look at Broadway musicals he's been broadcasting for 35 years.
Other people are holding out rock and roll and jazz as indigenous American musical art forms, but nobody was really holding out the American musical as an American art form. I will be there with you as your host and guide. That's where I felt that was my mission to do that.
There is nothing like a day.
But this isn't really a story about a radio show. It's about what sprung from it, musical theater heritage, which means a little of this and that, some more of this, and this, and this, even this, and it all tracks back to a conversation in 2003 between George, opera singer Nathan Granner, and his pal Chad Geralt.
I was thinking, George, we need to do your radio show in front of an audience. And so we decided to do Leonard Bernstein's On the Town. We had no idea what we were doing. We did it in front of 200 people, and it was magic.
Like a day.
We take a large cast musical that most people know, and we strip it down. Costumes, props, set pieces, choreography are all part of our show, but they're carefully chosen tokens rather than the rule, so that we can focus on the heart of the material, the book and the score. We get down to the nitty-gritty.
It kind of concentrates the theatricality of it. It's like a theatrical bullion cube. It's concentrated theater.
So what exactly do you call that? Some would say concert style or semi-staged. Sarah Crawford prefers to think it's morphed into musical theater heritage style.
We have our script, we put them in our hands or in music stands, and for the most part we face up and out and give it all over to the audience. But once we establish those rules, we break them. You know, I feel like I'm a strong director, and we have incredible talent here in Kansas City, but it really is the magic of the format that does that for us.
People seem to respond to it. In some ways, they find that it's more theatrical because they're using their imagination a little bit. We've actually had people walk away from some of our shows. A good example is Sweeney Todd saying, I never knew what the show was really about. I just thought it was about a woman baking Todd's victims into meat pies. But cannibalism, but it's really not about that. It's really about how the thirst for revenge can consume a man's soul.
There's just nothing like it. It's in a 244-seat theater in the middle of a shopping mall. It's kind of turned into a little Lincoln Center right here at Crown Center. 9, yes, let's go.
If you're
9.
thinking you used to go to movies here, you're right. Cinemas occupied this space in Crown Center until 2008, when MTH and several other arts groups were invited in to use the newly renovated Off-Center Theater. This summer, Harder signed a deal to become sole occupant, with an understanding they'll keep the lights on substantially more nights a year. That's why, in part, their wildly successful Musical Mondays are now taking over Tuesdays, too.
I remember our first year we did it, there were 4 of them, and they were totally free for season subscribers, and we had like 40, 50 people. And here we are 7 years later, and they've been sold out for 4 straight years, and their ticket prices are the same as a ticket price to see one of our shows.
And one of our missions is to try to make it so that these great singers don't have to move to New York or Chicago or LA in order to find work.
These days, Katie Carl is a mainstay of Kansas City Musical Theater. In the beginning, though, she got on stage here by getting picked in the lottery on a Musical Monday. It's an MTH tradition that's still going strong.
I don't know who they are most of the times. They come in, they bring their sheet music. In the middle of the event, they'll sit it down in front of Jeremy or whoever's playing piano that night, and they will sing in front of 200 people. The audience is so supportive. It's so invigorating, and often that's the highlight of the night. It was brought to the table, maybe we should eliminate that like 3 or 4 years ago, but it was quickly rejected.
Another piece of the programming pie is waiting in his dressing room. Ben Gully joins 3 other local artists featured this year in the new A Night on the Town performance series at MTH. From opera to neo-soul tunes he writes himself, Ben's talents pour forth in this unusually intimate setting.
What Tim wanted to do when we created this thing is he wanted to turn all the lights out and make it so dark in here that we had to literally escort people in.
And the idea behind that was to create a 54 Below type of vibe, which is a very popular nightclub in New York, which is under what used to be Studio 54. It's a supper club. They serve dinner there. We don't do that here, but we wanted to create like a speakeasy type of event that would showcase the individual performers. There's no host, there's no MC, there's one performer on stage for 75 minutes just telling you their story through the music that they want to tell.
From a storytelling standpoint, naming the series after the radio show closes our circle nicely.
Afterward, eager for her opinion of those songs.
And though George Harder still waxes eloquently on stage, and even sang some in the Lerner and Lowe review, more FaceTime, he says, is not the point.
I think the most personally satisfying thing to me is when somebody like Lauren Brayton or one of the other singers who come in here will come up to me and they will say, you know, I used to listen to you on the radio when I was 8. That's how I first got interested in musical theater. And I had no idea they were out there listening, because I was by myself in the studio just playing this music. I don't want this theater company to be all about me being here and me being the main focus, because then if I'm not here, if I get killed in a fiery crash, then we don't have anything. We are seeing the revival of Cats at the London Palladium, and we're seeing a brand new play, a comedy called The Play That Went Wrong.
The greatest thing about George is that he puts people in position to succeed, and by that I mean he'll say, this is what I want you to do, I trust you to do it, go do it. And he really won't interfere. And there are not a lot of people in charge, and there are not a lot of bosses that'll do that.
No stools, just high top.
Do you ever say, oh, George, that's just enough. I can't take another detail, another bit of trivia about these things?
Every 5 minutes, man. He's got a new stat, and I don't know where he says, well, I've been reading again.
When a movie takes place in New York, look on the tables and stuff for the characters, you'll see one of these sitting around.
He's our Mark Twain of musical theater, no doubt about it.
We are growing. We are on the uprise, and that's exciting. We serve people who love musical theater, and there are a lot of people out there that love musical theater.
Kansas City's grand parks and boulevard system came about in part because of the City Beautiful movement in the late 1800s.
Yeah, the idea that art and aesthetics could really make people's lives better takes many forms. The Urban Canvas Project has, for example, chosen plywood.
KC Parks and Rec, Arts Tech, and the No Violence Alliance have been working together to fight blight in the Prospect Corridor, calling on artists to create works that will embellish the vacant houses in the area.
On a Saturday in August, artists and organizers gathered at the Workhouse Castle on Vine to choose the winning works in plywood.
It's about the content of your character and not your skin color. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. said. You're welcome.
My name is Sergeant Garrick Haynes, and I work for Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. We're out at 2100 Vine. Now, we want to bring attention to a lot of the abandoned properties in the city and also teach some young artists some different skill sets on how to plan their future with their artwork.
When I grew up, I want to be an art teacher because I like drawing and I like looking at art.
We've got a group called the CRT, which is Community Response Team. And what we do is we sit down with them once a month and we talk about the problems in their neighborhoods. And one of the main problems that came up was the blight and the abandoned properties and the crime that goes on around these abandoned properties.
If you're driving down the street and you see an abandoned house, you're gonna think, oh, it's nasty, but if you put our paintings on there, it's gonna look decent and nice.
On the flip side of that, we're trying to get some of our at-risk youth out of the neighborhoods and into better programs. So we decided to combine the two problems, and we came up with this program.
I love art. It's a way to express yourself and show everybody how you feel, because not everybody can tell people how they feel, you know.
My artwork is about saving the city and putting it on every house in the city.
My piece is the one that says equality. In the system today, there really isn't any, you know, with the police and stuff. Well, some of the police, not all of them, and how they act toward certain people of different races. And at the bottom of it, it's everybody of every different race, and they're holding up the city and supporting it. We can fix it easily if we all basically go colorblind.
We've given 2 scholarships away with the Nelson Atkins Art Museum, and that's going to be a year's worth of workshops for the 2 winners of that scholarship.
What I got out of this artwork is a scholarship to Nelson Atkins Museum of Art and a job at My Arts Tech.
When you're working together, that's how you form your community. This was a beautification effort. This was also a way to raise awareness of the abandoned homes and how we need to get people living back in them and fix them up.
What's that saying? One picture is 1,000 words. Put that in there too, because that was nice. That's gold.
Here are some quick stats for you about the Overland Park Arboretum and Botanical Gardens. 300 acres out here around 179th and Antioch.
85% of that is dedicated to preserving and restoring 8 different ecosystems.
There are 5 miles of hiking trails.
In a span of 3 years, they've acquired 23 sculptures, many of them in the International Sculpture Garden.
And best of all, number of days they're closed each year? 1, Christmas.
Well, Edith Head is one of the most recognized names in film fashion history.
Over the course of her 60-year career, she worked on more than 1,000 movies and garnered 35 Oscar nominations.
Those iconic looks she created for the world's biggest stars can now be seen not in Hollywood, but in Lancaster, Ohio, at the Decorative Arts Center.
I grew up in Lancaster in the 40s, and I loved the movies. Went every Saturday. And the names I remember are Wally Westmoreland, who did the makeup, and costume design was always Edith Head. She was at Paramount for 34 years, which is unprecedented. And it's definitely not just a show of evening gowns, but of all of the genres of the films that she worked on. And her other interests, she was one of the first women to brand herself, so we talk about her creating dress patterns and the books she wrote, in addition to the costumes that she designed. Her name, I think, was the most well-known of all of the costume designers in Hollywood. And her name, she's been dead since 1981, and her name still comes up. I think in the Incredibles, she's referred to.
Keep moving, fellas, especially in front of you. Slower, slower. Stop it, stupid.
The conservative aspect of her clothes, the classic timelessness, defines her. A movie could be kept for release for a couple of months, sometimes a year, even 2 years after it was made, before it was released. So she strictly avoided any fads in clothing, because when the movie was released, it would look dated. One of the most recognizable ones would be the wedding dress. It's very elaborate and in remarkable condition for its age. And it reminds me that all of these costumes in this exhibition were once in the rental stock of Paramount Pictures. Until 2006, anyone could go in and rent these costumes. These clothes haven't traveled except for one exhibition in El Paso, Texas, and that was a town that had a film festival. And for their 100th anniversary, they reached out to Paramount for an Edith Head collection. And so all of these costumes were restored. Some of them had been very badly damaged, but they've been restored beautifully. So they were on exhibition there in 2012 and went back to Paramount. And when our application was approved, they're here, and this is just the second time that they've ever left Hollywood. We have a little bit of everything from Bing Crosby's jacket and Martha Ray's cape when she was a matador in a movie for something like 30 seconds. And Bob Hope's circus costume. There's some very sophisticated evening dresses. There's a negligee. And there are some performance costumes like the Jane Russell outfit and a Betty Hutton outfit that's sequins that were used in performance scenes in the movie. Her personal style, and this was her career persona, was conservative suits, usually gray. The schoolmarm, sort of old-fashioned schoolmarm bangs and hair she adopted in 1938 when she became chief designer at Paramount. She created this look. It was the bangs, the chignon, and the glasses. The blue lenses in her glasses, she said, enabled her to see what the colors would look like in black and white film. And as soon as they started making more color pictures, she switched to gray. The biggest secret of her success was she studied the scripts. She knew exactly what the storyline was, and she wanted the costumes to advance the storyline. She also asked the artists about their preferences. Some of them wouldn't wear prints. Some of them had what they considered figure flaws, which we never noticed because Edith was such a genius at covering them up. For instance, she said Betty Davis had a thick neck and she had a very big bust, which was suffering from the effects of gravity. and Betty wouldn't wear an underwire bra because she thought they caused cancer. So she was a genius. She said, except for Grace Kelly, every actress had something that needed disguised. Seeing them in the movies is one thing, and we even have clips from the movies here. But to see the fabrics and the incredible handwork, the beading and the soutaching, it just defies description, and it's not something you see in the mall or in a department store anywhere. This is the only place, and these are incredible works of art. They truly are.
As we get ready to wrap things up here in the great outdoors, we'll finish with a story about an ecologically conscious musician.
Recycled wood. That's the only kind a conservation-minded company called Desolation Row will use to build guitars.
As it turns out, there are also equally impressive works of visual art as well.
I've only been playing instruments about maybe 7 years, and my son Lou has always been musically inclined, and it kind of got me going on the bass. I guess I always just kind of wanted to make a guitar for some reason, and we had a party where one got broken, and so I started seeing kind of how they were made. You get so much into them when you're making them, because it takes me like a month or so probably, because I do it after work from roofing. It really just comes down to looking at a guitar and, you know, making it work and being able to use tools. We use very basic tools, a planer, a table saw, and jigsaw, and it's just, I think most any carpenter could do it if he put his mind to it. I've done basically everything on them. I make the necks and the fretboards, and some of those guitars with the portraits in them, there's like close to 400 pieces of wood.
When he made my first guitar, it was made out of my grandfather's cabinets. After he passed away, we remodeled the house for my grandma, took the cabinet wood and turned it into a guitar. And that's the only guitar I've played. I put all the other expensive ones away, and it's hard to beat. Playing music in general, you have to get into it. You know, you feel it inside, and when you're playing something that means a lot, it's easier to let it out through the instrument. Everybody who gets a guitar knows where the wood came from, a story of it. And I think that's a big selling point too, is when you get something that's not shipped over from China, it's local, it's got history, it's a little easier to fall in love with.
It's got like a history to it. For example, there's guitars here that are made, we worked out in Casadega in our roofing business, and we put a roof on the bookstore out there. So I got a bunch of wood from the roof of that, and I thought, you know, when we tore the old 100-year-old boards off of the roof, you could smell the incense coming from, you could even smell it in the guitar for the longest time, just from passing through. And that's what it's about.
I started playing guitar when I was around 14 when my Uncle Joe gave me one of his acoustics. Part of the guitar came from my grandfather's old house and from wood around here, and so that just made it all the more special to us.
We make them with all wood that's either we get off of the job sites, or we pick up tables and stuff off the side of the road and stuff, because it's not about the money, it's just about the recycled wood. You really get into it when you're making it, but by the time you're just about done, you're thinking about the next one and what it could be.
Well, the next time we see you, we'll have a whole lot of Benton. Thomas Hart Benton's Hollywood exhibition coming to the Nelson.
Also, The Bond Between Man and Dog. It's a new play by Logan Black.
Till then, I'm Randy Mason.
And I'm Maris Aylward. Thanks for watching.
I could have danced all night I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before.
Mariah, blow my love to me. I need my girl beside me. Mariah, Mariah, they call the wind Mariah. Mariah, Mariah.
The music of life seems to be
like a bell that is ringing for me, and from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear I was falling.
I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love. Almost like being in love.
Production funding for Arts Upload has been provided in part by Francis Family Foundation, Hall Family Foundation, the H&R Block Foundation, Courtney S. Turner Charitable Trust, John W. and FEE Spies Memorial Trust, Muriel McBrien Kaufman Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.